Easy's going, man. I'll be outside. Good luck.
Hey everyone, this video has been a long time coming. It's about the Brutality match that I attended in West Virginia, Moonshine Brutality. That was some months ago. I got a lot of good footage in the can, but just hadn't had time to edit it till now. And edit I did, as you'll see. This is part of 2 videos that I'm dropping today for the holiday. Hope you enjoy the other one, which is a little sillier. If you're not familiar, by the way, when I talk about Brutality matches, God, I think most of you who watch this channel must be. Carl, my friend over at InRange TV, has been running, they are Brutality Matches. It's a type of gun match. What is it? What is it focused on? It's kind of an outgrowth of 2-gun action challenge match type shooting, which in itself was a response to relative boredom or the stultifying nature of a lot of 3-gun, which got to be kind of very similar stage designs and similar, it's like reloading competitions for shotgun and stuff, which isn't fun. It got very plain. So 2-gun, rifle, pistol, or Brutality matches specifically, which is rifle or rifle and pistol, but focus on movement. The stages are meant to be very creative and novel. It's meant to be engaging and just a little more emphasis on some cardio and physicality. You're leaping over obstacles, you're dragging a lot of heavy loads. That's really typical for Brutality matches. You're pushing your weapon systems out a little beyond your comfort zone. So don't expect a lot of bill drills at 6 feet. Expect a lot of pistol targets at like 25, maybe even 50 yards. Maybe you get them, maybe you take the penalty. Expect to push your rifle out to 200 yards and beyond. Not always. So the one I attended was one of their CQB matches. They have CQB East and West. And even then, like, we were engaging targets regularly out to like 50 yards, which a lot of people think of CQB as a shoot house, right? But if you're thinking that I'm telling you all this to be intimidating and say, oh man, those Brutality matches, they're not for you, that's the entire opposite point of this video. I want to talk about why this was so much fun and talk about why you should absolutely try to attend one. A lot of you, I'm certain, are wondering why I look so goofy in this match footage. Well, I was in the cyberpunk division. Brutality matches have different classifications of shooter, divisions for shooting, and you bring what you want kind of to the table in terms of you make your own match and your own difficulty that day. They have armored and armored plus P, where you're toting around all your ammo for the day, your gear for the day, you're wearing full kit, full plates, all your water. That's like doing it on hard mode, right? They also have divisions like Scout or Old West. They actually have kind of an outlaw shooter like old-timey Western division if you want, and they'll adjust the scores and so forth. Roaring 20s is really fun now. They had Cold War irons for a while, which if you didn't want to run a super modern kit, you'd be only shooting with people that had weapons for the 80s and beyond with no optics on them. It's just steel. So the new division that I was in, you can also see my buddy Yeezy. He was there. He was squatted with me. We were in Cyberpunk, which is like bring out your weird stuff. A lot of home builds, a lot of, like, you have to, I think, have optics on your gun for Cyberpunk. You see a lot of bullpups. But since we were there with all homebrew kit, that's where a lot of the home build shooters were out. And it was an absolute blast. I mentioned the stage designs are meant to be innovative and engaging. So there was one stage where it was like an alien theme. You were actually trying to steal a like xenomorph embryo from Weyland-Yutani. And you had to use this robotic hand to open a safe and grab the sample and so on. That was really fun. I got to pick the lock on the gun safe and make a replacement tubular key when somebody lost it. There was a division, I don't know if you heard, like Glock, because Glock is an Austrian company. It was revealed sometime last year that they have like a horse breeding program, like a lot of businesses in Austria do. But one of the stages was like you had to break into Glock and steal the horse semen. And you had to actually carry a cup of it around with you on the stage. So I used this dangling platform that people with palsy use to hold their coffee and tea. I just dingus strapped it to the end of my muzzle, and that worked actually really well. So I mentioned my buddy Yeezy Prince, and not only was he there shooting with his Mac build, but he brought a number of his incredible home builds. There's a whole video on Carl's channel on InRange, I'll link it below, where he talks about a number of things he brought. Dude, the Hoffman tactical design that he has printed and put together, Hoffman's doing great design work. It is easily one of the nicest rifles I have ever shot in my life. So this is me engaging at probably, I don't know, 40 yards or something like that on 8-inch steel. And I didn't have a single miss with this thing. This was a tack driver. This is one of the most beautiful rifles I've ever experienced.
Holy shit!
My gun, if you're curious what I was trying to run, was a home build Glock 19 inside of a goofball chassis system. Put a suppressor dangling on the end of that, which wouldn't stay screwed on. You'll learn, like, a lot of people had problems. And it had nothing to do with my good friend Yeezy dropping my gun. That's a very ceremonially important thing for you. If you're a good enough friend that Yeezy Prince will drop your firearm right there in front of you, yeah, you're in the club. The weather that weekend was super unpredictable. It was just horrible conditions to be out and about. It was cold, it was rainy, we were covered in mud. I don't generally enjoy that. I'm not a person who likes to slog out and rough it when I'm camping, but I loved it for the match. And the reason is, this is why I encourage everyone to get involved in action shooting and practical shooting on the clock. This day, the weather was so averse, so many people's guns completely shit the bed, including mine and Yeezy's and other people's. My gun failed so badly, I didn't even finish the match. Like, my chassis system, the polymer was swelling and it wasn't cycling. And oh my God, we were like banging on it and trying to figure some things out and smashing the parts back together when I was popping the gun in and out. Yeezy's gun, like, bolts fell off of it. He completed a couple stages with my gun, and then I was shooting his once he repaired his. He went to like Tractor Supply and got a linchpin for a hitch and just jammed it through the front of his Mac, and it kept running. It's still that way to this day. And that's what's really important to me. So many people's guns died. And not just wacko home builders, right? Like, factory guns were having all kinds of problems in the weather and the conditions. This is a good thing. Doing a shakedown of your gear, not just like plinking at a closed box range indoors, but like going out on the clock, pushing your stuff through grime and hard conditions and bad temperatures and rain. Get all the bugs out of your system when you're not really under high stakes. Like, yeah, there's a scoreboard and you're trying to compete to see who wins the match that day, but you're actually not in a life and death scenario. Finding out how your gear will run, the only way to do it is on the clock, and the only genuine way to test it under all conditions is a brutality match. There's one other thing about brutality matches, though, that make them really unique, and that is the community. The people you see there, again, it's not your regular shooters. Not just, I don't mean people who are really pushing themselves and their kit. I mean, it's wall to wall. Politically progressive people, there's whole squads of anarchists, there's whole squads of cat girls. Like, it's massively skews LGBTQ friendly. It is not your average firearms environment. And what InRange is doing, and the way Carl is cultivating and building the community by really strict enforcement of like a no assholes policy. Like, he does not want your typical MAGA fash dickballs there. Carl wants these spaces to be different in a lot of ways. So this is my Christmas time for giving call to action to you. I talk about this in the comments a lot in other videos. People ask me all the time, hey, Dave, we love your channel. You've been around forever. You're like putting videos up as regularly as you can. Not as regularly as I want. Didn't make it on Monday, did I, this week? But that's part of this. Like, people say, hey man, when are you gonna have a Patreon? We gotta have, like, come on, man, I wanna contribute. I love what you're doing. I love the support you show for Kara and other people. And I've always said, no, I don't want a Patreon. Like, this isn't my job. I have a job. And this is not poo-pooing people for whom video is their job. I already feel bad when Monday hits and I don't have a video at the smack 7 o'clock in the morning release time. But I would feel even worse if y'all were paying me and I have a busy week or I'm out of, like, literally I'm recording this at Emily's house because like my flight got delayed and I'm not home in my office yet. So if this is my thing. If you really feel serious that you care about people's defense and education and the ability to participate in their own safety, and if you care about gun rights, but don't consider yourself a Trump voter or something, InRange TV is one of the last places left on the internet speaking to that sort of vibe and building that community. Others are gone. Think about other Tactical Girlfriend. I was just talking to her this morning. Like, she's not on YouTube anymore. She's got other work. Like, the community, Carl is up there carrying so much load. If you like what I'm describing in this video, if you might want to come to a brutality match in the future, if you might want to just see more people who align with your beliefs out there defending themselves and learning about this and talking to others, I encourage you to support InRange's Patreon. Do this for me. This is, if you really like what I've done over the years and you say, Dave, I want to give you a Christmas gift. It is the time. It is Christmas, Theo. It's time for miracles. I'm linking InRange's Patreon below. Set a calendar reminder to yourself right now. Set it right now for a year from now. Christmas Eve, 2025. I'd like you to join. You can join it at their lowest tier. The lowest tier is like $3. So that's $36 for the whole year. That's less than a pretty nice meal somewhere. Join InRange's Patreon. Give me 1 year and support what they're doing as we all move into the future that we know is coming in 2025. It will make a difference. I want this type of shooter community to thrive. I want the brutality matches, which they don't make money on. They do that as an act of community care. Like they just break even barely. They're not building gun matches. They're not building education centers. What they're building is community. And if you believe in that mission as I do, that's the Patreon to support. Leave a comment below if you're going to do that and see who else is saying the same thing. That would make a brighter Christmas, not just for me and Carl and Russell and all those crew. It'll make a brighter tomorrow for a lot of people who need more information and are trying to get into the shooting and self-defense space and think they don't have a home. They do have one. It's the InRange community, and maybe I'll get to see you at a future brutality match. I'd like that very much. All right, watch the other video if you want to get a kick out of something this holiday season. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good time with your loved ones. Careful on the roads if you're out there drinking and so forth. But yeah, I'll catch you around. Stay safe out there. Happy holidays.